Let's move on. We want to talk boxing. Katie Taylor's fighting tomorrow night. We'll talk about that on tomorrow night's show. But I'm delighted to say Michael Conlan is on the line to talk to us about another successful fight for him last weekend. And the big news, Michael, that you're going to be fighting in Paddy's Day in the Garden. That's quite a Christmas to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely. Very, very exciting. I've had a great year, 5-0, 4 KOs, and now I look towards next year, and I've got another main event on St Patrick's Day in Madison Square Garden. So it's going to be another great year.
The thing is, right, everybody is impatient. They want you to fight the massive fights really quickly, but you've got to be careful that you just don't, that you know exactly what the professional game is about and that you become a professional fighter. Yeah,
definitely. Listen, it's the business first off, and you need to fight the right opponents at the right times. And I'm with Top Rank, who are known for guiding fighters at the right to fighting the right guys at the right time. Maybe look at what they've done in the past with the likes of Floyd Mayweather, Miguel Cotto, Oscar De La Hoya. They are the guys behind those guys who have built them into stars. So I know I'm in great hands, and I know that I'm moving at the right pace. I'm feeling great, and I feel my last performance has been my best so far. So I feel they're just moving me along at the right time.
What are you working on for fights like this? Like, what are you looking for after a fight to go, yeah, that I improved, I can see I'm improving? What are the key things that you want to work on?
Well, for this one mainly, I wanted to work on just getting back to what I do best, and it's using my boxing skill. I felt in my first 4 fights, maybe even, I've been trying to force a different kind of style, which isn't my style of fighting. I've been trying to box like kind of more like a Mexican type fighter who goes forward, throws a lot of punches, tries to take guys' heads off. But I'm more of a classy kind of fighter, and more to say so, a counter puncher. I like to make people miss and make them pay. So I worked on getting back to what I do best, and I feel that I showed that on Saturday night. And even now, even though I didn't get the stoppage, I'm really happy with how I performed.
Yeah, one of the noticeable things about Saturday's fight was just the ease with which he switched from southpaw to orthodox and back again. Is that something you've had a particular focus on over the past couple of weeks?
Not really. No, I've always been able to do it. I've done it since the amateurs. I actually done it the fight I want when I guaranteed myself bronze in London 2012. I boxed as a southpaw for the full fight. So I've always been able to turn southpaw. And on Saturday, after the first 30 seconds, I seen that as a southpaw I was going to have a lot more distance and a lot more comfort when I fought that guy. And as soon as I turned southpaw, he kind of got confused and didn't know what to do, and I was just able to tee off on him anytime I wanted.
It seemed he couldn't get inside you at all. He tried to push you back to the ropes, and I'm not sure, was that to do with his range or was it to do with your defence? Is it a plan for you when you're boxing defensively is to keep your opponent at bay, because as soon as they get inside you, you might be in a bit of trouble? Or like, how do you approach it defensively? Is it to do with the opponent, or is it more to do with your own strengths?
I think, for me, on Saturday, I kind of worked on maintaining the distance between me and him. Kind of something what you learn in the amateurs, and it was my bread and butter in the amateurs, is just maintaining my distance, and I kind of get back to that in more of a pro way, pro style, and just had him at the end of the job. So anytime he stepped in, I was either able to punish him or step out of distance, and it worked well for me, and I was really happy. I know that was my best performance to date. Sorry. Even though I didn't get the stoppage, it was definitely still my best performance.
Who helps you out with that kind of stuff? Like, who helps you now to say, okay, for this fight we want you to go back and we can compare how well you do going back to a bit more of your own identity as a fighter versus the first couple of fights when you were fighting like a Mexican? What's the knowledge that you can draw on from the coaching ticket that you're working with, and just generally from Top Rank?
Yeah, well, I said it's my team kind of. We all kind of talk about it, but for this one, about going back to myself and back to how I fight myself, I kind of spoke to my father first. Because he's kind of the main man behind everything for me, because he's been with me since I was a kid. I spoke with my coach about it. He's more of a kind of pro style, Mexican style fighter. That's his kind of style of training. So I said to him, this is the way I was going to fight, and it was, at the end of the day, the decision was down to me and myself, and it was me who kind of came up with the idea. I wanted to go back to myself, and I'm happy I did, because when I went in there, it just seemed so easy when I boxed how I used to box. And I actually watched some of my old fights as an amateur and stuff, and took from them what I wanted, and added it till the kind of pro style I have now.
Yeah, because it's about scoring, and particularly in fights that are going to go the distance. And as you move up and fight a higher caliber fighter, most fights probably end up going the distance, particularly ultimately the title fights. So you've got to be able to win rounds with late flurries, and you've got to be able to win rounds counter punching, and you've got to be able to just dig in a couple of rounds as well, particularly over 12 rounds.
Yeah, I think so, and that's why I was happy to go the distance this time also, is because, if you haven't done it, there's always a question mark there, and there's a doubt in your head that maybe I can't do this, maybe I can. But even though you do it in training, you do it in sparring, when you get in there on fight night, it's a different animal. There's different types of nerves, and everything is just different in fighting instead of sparring. So I've done 12 rounds in sparring and stuff, so I know I can do the rounds, but once you get in there and do them practically on the evening, it makes it so much easier for future fights. And obviously as they go on and the rounds go on and the rounds go more, and like I think my next fight, hopefully I'm asking for it to be 8 rounds. They might want 6 again, I don't know, but I want to go 8. So the fact that I've went to 6 in my head, I've ticked another box, and for the future, it's going to stand me in good stead.
You were on the same card the other night as Lomachenko, obviously. You've spoken about him in the past, but you're well aware that it'll take time to get to that level. But at the same time, Bob Arum seems in real he really admires your ambition when you talk about the likes of Lomachenko. Do you get that impression off Arum that he likes you talking about the end of your career and the biggest of the big fights that could potentially come your way?
Yeah, I think so. I think in this game, you need to know what you want to do, and you need to know who you want to face. You want to face the best fighters, and I believe Lomachenko is probably number 1, number 2 pound for pound at the minute, and I can see myself facing him in the future. I'm beating him in the future, but at the minute he's still a few leagues ahead of me. So I've got some catching up to do, but I believe give me a little bit of time, and I'll be there. And I know Bob and stuff, they love that. They love hearing that stuff, and they see it as, this is a kid who's trying to reach for the stars, and we'll have his back the whole way. And it's great to have a promoter and a team around me who want to push my ambition and want to push my drive.
Yeah, I think Arum actually compared your ambition to Floyd Mayweather at the start of his career, that he wasn't exactly calling out the big names, but he was certainly mentioning them, and he made it quite clear how high his ceiling and how big his ambitions really were.
Yeah, that's the main thing. I think if you want to be a great fighter and go down as a great in history, you have to have that type of ambition, and you can't just put it on. I think it has to be inside you to even say or mention the type of things that you're going to mention.
Are we going to see you in Belfast next year, Michael?
100%. Actually, we've been talking about it for, it seems like, forever now. It was meant to happen this year, but the way it was falling, it wouldn't have been in a meaningful fight. And as well for ESPN, it's football season, so it wouldn't have been doable at this stage of the year, because it wouldn't have got no TV time really. But we're definitely doing it. I think it's either late March, early June. ESPN have booked 2 dates. It's going to happen more than likely probably Belfast at the minute, it seems, but it's definitely going to happen May or June.
You obviously saw the development and evolution of Carl Frampton from somebody who was very well regarded to somebody who goes on and becomes a world champion. But it took a long time, and people were like, they're taking ages to get there. But ultimately that was the right thing for him in terms of getting to this level. So you desperately need patience. While we're all kind of going, is it 18 months? Do you think you'll get a world title fight?
Well, listen, it's a different circumstance with me than Carl. I'm coming off a great amateur pedigree, 2 Olympic Games, amateur world champion, and numerous other titles. Carl didn't really have as much. He had a good amateur background, but he didn't have the major medals, and he didn't do the 2 Olympic Games. He turned young as well. I think he turned around 22, 23. So it's different. Me and Carl are different, and I think for me, I think I could have a world title shot within under 15 fights anyway.
Right. Okay, so that's 2 years really if you're fighting at the rate that you're fighting at the minute. Because there is that trend, especially in the division. Like obviously, Lomachenko and Rigondo again had 2 Olympic Games at least behind both of them, and we have seen people get fast tracked as well. So it wouldn't be ridiculous to have a world title fight around fights 13, 14 or 15.
It wouldn't be ridiculous to have it even 11 or 12. You know what I mean? It's that possible at the minute, and next year it's all about next year and how everything goes next year. It's depending on what way we move, what fights we take, and you know that's why I wanted to be at rounds next, is because I do towards the end of the year I want to be there or thereabouts, you know, for the world titles. And I feel if I can go 8 next and do maybe 2 or 3 8s this year, and then maybe up to a 10, and you know hopefully by the end of the year even a 12. I feel I'll be thereabouts, and you know I'm with the best team in the business with Top Rank, and you know it's very, very possible. And I feel if we get the right opponents at the right times next year, we're going to be in the driving seat for coming into 2019.
When you look back at this calendar year, Michael, it's obviously been a hugely positive one for you and very different from the way you might have felt at the end of 2016. But in hindsight now, what happened in the Olympic Games, it seems from your perspective, you've really turned that into a big positive.
Listen, what happened in the Olympic Games, I feel, is probably a blessing in disguise to me. It definitely is. You know, I wouldn't change it for the world. What's happened, and it kind of gave me a springboard. Like, even in my boxing career, it's like boosted my my publicity or how well known I am tenfold. Everywhere in America I go, it's crazy. Like I can't believe it. I'm walking in the gyms and these guys are coming up and asking me to take pictures, throwing up the bird and stuff, and you know it's funny, like, but and sometimes you get tired of it because is that all I'm going to be remembered for, is giving the finger? I hope not, but I think it's definitely the best thing that's happened in my career. It's given me a lot of drive because I never want to feel like that again, but at the same time it's boosted my media perception and how people see me, and you know, it's done a lot for my career, I think.
With all the dust settled now, what do you think happened? Because obviously Dr. Wu has subsequently been kicked out of AIBA. There was a bunch of judges after the Olympic Games were sent home. Now with all this distance gone and you know, being a mature professional fighter at this point, what do you think happened?
I know what happened. It was paid off. We were told anyway before my fight. Well, I wasn't told. The coaches were told by one of the Russian coaches that it wasn't going to happen. They have been paid, and the medals have already been bought, so there was no chance I was going to win, no matter what I done. Unless I knocked the guy out, that was the only chance I kind of had. We knew the medal was bought, and there was calls put in to everybody, and nothing could be done, nothing could be changed. It was already done, so. You know, I know there was a lot of money thrown around there for those guys, and Dr. Wu, well, he's fell on his own spear now, so you know, I'm not going to say I'm sad. I'm not sad at all. I'm glad he's gone because I think he was very, very bad for amateur boxing. And you know, I hope what I done and me standing up is the reason why all this is happening and it's all come out. And you know, I hope for the future nobody ever has to feel like I felt, but I know that's not going to happen. I know amateur boxing is always going to have, boxing in general is always going to have a lot of dodgy decisions and corruption, but you know, hopefully it doesn't happen for a while, and it doesn't happen on the biggest stage in the world as the Olympic Games.
Yeah. Did you know in advance of the fight? Did your dad tell you? Did the coaches tell you?
They wouldn't tell me, and rightly so, because I don't know how I would have performed then if they had told me. But I know that my fiance, my brother, my mother, who were all out watching me, my dad was one of the coaches. I know they says when they were going to the arena, it was like they were going to a funeral. Says it was that bad. They already knew. They were like, they knew, but they were trying not to believe, if you know what I mean. And it was just, it must have been a horrible feeling for them, because and especially after the first round when I performed so well, they knew that was it. And you see the picture of my wife just has her head down, she's crying her eyes out, and she never cries, you know what I mean? So the fact that she was crying, it says a lot for me.
And the fact that it was so open, that's the weird thing, that like, you know, so many people knew about this happening in advance.
It's crazy. Listen, it's just so... all I can say was just, it was probably the most corrupt Olympic Games there's ever going to be.
That's a pretty high bar, because there's many corrupts. But listen, we're glad you're in the professional ranks, in the safety and the completely uncorrupted professional boxing ranks. What's Christmas like for you? Do you actually get to relax and chill out a bit?
Yeah, listen, this is the first time this year I'll be able to actually completely switch off, turn the phone off, just relax and you know, enjoy myself, have some nice food, get a bit fat. Enjoy my daughter. You know, I haven't really been able to properly switch off and enjoy having time with her this year because it has been so hectic. You know, I've basically been in training camp for the last 12 months. It's been a long year, and I'm just glad to finally just get the break now. Enjoy Christmas with a family. Enjoy Christmas around all my family. You know, and just have fun. And that's something that, you know, when you're living at home for so long, you take for granted. Now that I've been away for a year, it's something that I really cherish. Yeah,
well, listen, welcome home. You signed a letter to Leo Varadkar yesterday. I think now that you mentioned coming home, yourself and James McLean and a bunch of other people, just making sure that people, I think, in the south realise that you guys don't want a hard border here for any reason.
No chance, no hard border for me. Come on, I drive up and down the road every day, so there's no chance I want a hard border. I think it's absolutely stupid. So, you know, why would you do that? I'm Irish first and foremost, and I don't want to be subject to anything being stuck up somewhere else. You know what I mean? Ireland is my country, and why should we have a hard border? I don't care if it's Brexit or anything like this. We're one country, and we are united, really.
Michael, great stuff. Thanks very much for joining us. Enjoy your Christmas.
Thanks, boys. Cheers. Merry Christmas.